I got tired of losing money every day. That's probably the first thing. Like, I'd literally make money from my business, funnel it into my broker, and then do it over and over again. And I'm like, I'm working just to fund my hobby. And I didn't want it to be a hobby. I wanted this to take over my business and become my career. So once I started actually thinking about it, got the mentor, learned how to think through trading rather than just clicking buttons. Like, why am I taking this trade? Is this worth it? Should I be taking this trade because I'm not sitting at my desk, I'm watching a movie and I'm not fully focused? Once you start putting all the pieces together and you get a clear picture of what you want out of trading, I think that really helps. Because like I said, a lot of people just get into it.
Just a quick pause before we get into this. Trading can be intense, and staying mindful during your session matters so much. That's why I created and am sharing a free 3-part audio experience that's helped me deeply. 1 for starting your day with calm intention, 1 to stay centered while you trade, and 1 to wind down with grace when it's time to stop. These tracks are yours. Just click the link in the description. Hey, welcome back. Here at the Market Mamas podcast, I cover a wide range of topics from the intricacies of day trading to mindset mastery and psychological growth, with the goal of the conversations being next level growth for all of us. My name is Becky, and I'm a US-based futures day trader from the Pacific Northwest. My trading experience includes trading stocks, options, crypto, and futures, with both trading a personal account as well as with prop funding companies. Over time, I found that I most enjoy the fast-paced world of intraday futures trading, so that is my primary day trading focus now. Thank you for joining me on the Market Mamas podcast today. Hey guys, welcome back to Market Mamas, and I am the host, Becky, and I absolutely love having other traders on the podcast because I really enjoy getting to know how people got into trading, what that looks like for them, how their story evolved, and what they're finding is helping them be the most successful self-less traders. And so today, I actually have a new friend that I met. You guys might have noticed in some of the podcasts, I started doing some work with the BluSky prop funding company that I also trade with. And in that role, I am meeting all kinds of new people, one of which is Justin. And I learned a little bit about his story, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to talk. I need to know more. I want other people to hear how it has evolved for you. So Justin, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
So you have a couple different roles at BluSky, but the heart of it all is you're a trader. So when did you start trading? What that looks like for you? What did you do before? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so probably like a lot of people you've interviewed before, I got in on the meme Mania, GameStop, AMC, when crypto was running like crazy. Now, I missed the initial GameStop pump, dump, whatever happened. So I got in on AMC, and I think that was, 5 years ago? And I put a substantial amount of money for what I had to work with in it. And I rode that sucker all the way from $11 to $71. I remember being in an appointment. I said, I have to go. I'm having technical difficulties. And I just left, sat in my car, pressed sell on my phone, and just sat in silence for must have been half an hour. Called my wife and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to get into this investing thing. This is so easy. I just made 450% in 2 days. Come to find out, it's not that easy. So like everybody else, I started getting into options. I joined a Telegram group. And you know what the worst thing is you can do when you get into options is? 0 DTE SPX options. I was throwing $1,000, $2,000 down on something that some random guy told me to buy. And you know what? That AMC money, it started to go like this and started to go like this. And I realized maybe I should do this, learn how to do this by myself. And found a mentor, a lot of ups and downs, but found futures and prop firms, and consistently been profitable for about 2-3 years. And I can't imagine doing anything else these days.
Yes. That's amazing. It's actually relatively similar to mine too. It was around the same time of the GME and the Doge and all that crazy town where I was like, this is wild. People are just throwing money and everything's just exponentially exploding.
Yeah, I remember the first time I talked to you, you said your story. And it resonated with me so much because I think we've been trained the same amount of times, had the same everything. And then, finally realize you have to buckle down and look into yourself to make this if you're going to do it.
Yeah. The pandemic and that period of the news in terms of trading really brought like billions of people into the retail trading environment. And I think, honestly, one of the biggest blessings of that period has been the evolution of prop funding companies, because those did not exist. Like you and I started trading back when there wasn't funding companies. We traded our own money, and Telegram was the Discord. I started in
Yep.
Telegram also.
Yep.
So it's been interesting how the world has evolved with us with this massive influx of needing to have more streamlined systems. Like Discord evolved and now we kind of took it over in terms of trading communities. But then also the prop funding company, like I started with trading with money from my savings account that I put in a personal
Yep.
account on TD Ameritrade. And, it wasn't long. It started dwindling when I didn't know how to be a good trader yet. And so there's a couple episodes of Market Mamas about prop funding companies and the pluses and minuses of them. But the pluses for me far outweigh it. And, I think that there's good ones. And you and I obviously both are fans of BluSky, but the benefit, honestly, is you get to protect your personal capital. And for me, that made trading so much more comfortable as like a mom trader, as a retail trader, as I don't work for a big business and I'm trading their capital. It's my money. And so I think it's been a kind of an awesome evolution that we've been part of.
Yeah. And you, like you said, trading with your own capital, you go into a trade where you're risking $2,000. If you lose $2,000, it's gone. But the great thing with the prop firms is, you're only losing the cost of the challenge account. You don't have to, stake your whole paycheck on it or anything like this. And then you can use that to fund your own account. And it's also the best when, you're not that good of a trader, but you don't just want a paper trade. You want to have some skin in the game. But yeah, just like you, I was on my Thinkorswim account and, there were good weeks and there were bad weeks. And the prop firms came along, and I don't know about you, when the prop firms came along, somebody told me about it. I said, no way, this can't be real. All I have to do is pass this account and somebody's going to give me $50,000 into my bank account that I can trade with. And obviously it's not the case, but still using other capital rather than your own, I think is an absolute game changer. And I think it brings so many people into trading from before where you had to just open a Robinhood account.
When I first heard about it, after I fully understood it, my initial full thought was, damn, I missed that boat. This is such a good idea. I'm like, man,
right?
People who have the forethought and the capital to create these companies, wicked smart, like that was an opportunity.
Well, and then also when I heard about it, I said, I have to figure out a way to get my foot in the door. This space is just going to take off. And, now everybody I talk to, what prop firm are you trading? What prop firm? Obviously, they know what prop firm I'm trading with, but it's just such a game changer for the industry. The low cost of entry. I mean, we have 17, 18-year-old kids that are saving their lunch money to buy an account. And I think it's great.
Right? Come trade with us. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about, now we know how we're paying for our trading, but how did you get good at trading? So you said you lost and you realized you actually had to show up for the work of it and you got a mentor. Like can we talk a little bit about that period where probably it was, I call it my messy middle of like, I knew enough to be dangerous, but I didn't know enough to be profitable. How did you get through that?
Yeah, so I found something on a random Facebook post. I think it was while GameStop was still going crazy. Somebody posted some options where they made 3,000% and said, hey, this guy is calling out these signals. It's $50 a month. You have to join it. So I joined and, I started signal botting this person. And then I looked at their chart and there was 30 lines on it. I said, what are these lines? How does this work? I actually ended up paying $1,500 for charting software. Come to find out, it was 3 different RSIs, a bunch of EMAs, and I think a VWAP band. And that was it. So I found out that was it. And then I actually ended up losing money in that group. And I realized I need to do this myself because I was just taking every trade possible, every setup that I thought I saw, I would take. So I actually found a real mentor. I was in a million Discord groups. One guy was willing to help me, and he took me under his wing. And I think that is probably the best way that I can personally tell anybody to do it, is to find somebody that believes in you or find a small group that believes in you and actually focus on learning how to trade and learning how to trade one system. Because that was the game changer for me when I stopped chasing trades and chasing, well, what indicator are you using? What is this? And then I started focusing on 1 or 2 good setups a day. Because before that, I don't know about you, but I was taking 40 trades a day, 50 trades a day. I would try to get 10% on SPX, 5% on SPY, which as we know is nothing. So now I focus on trades that are actually going to tap into some level of liquidity or actually going to move to the next level rather than trying to play this little band on this chart that I'm having that I'm at work on my phone. So I made a bunch of rules that fit my system. I got a mentor and I focused on quality over quantity. That's what really pushed me over the edge of my trading style.
That's so well put. I briefly was in a group that gave signals as well. And I think when you're a young trader, you want to just make money, right? When you're a trader, you want it to be easy. You want it to be a get rich quick scheme. You want someone to tell you where to buy and sell, and you want the profits that they have. And that's essentially what signal groups promise you. But my warning to anyone who is watching this is that signal groups are dangerous because you don't actually know what the person who's throwing out the signal knows and what their experience is and what the rationale is and what leverage you should use and what risk management you should use. And if it's an A+ setup or if it's a C setup and they just feel like they need to put something up on their channel to get views. And so I think it's extremely dangerous. And I don't know a single person who has had a positive outcome from a signals other than it was a catalyst to send them into the real work of becoming a trader, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's such a great point because I think everybody I know that was in that group, even though the guy might have made money, for, like you said, he might have been going full size on a good setup, low size on a bad setup. Right. We don't know that. We don't even know if the guy's actually trading. He could just be calling out and looking at the option chain or anything like that. But I think what really is good for these signal groups is find out why the person is taking those trades. Learn why they're taking those trades. Learn if that fits your lifestyle and the way you want to trade. And then maybe if that doesn't work, find somebody else. But learn the underlying system that the person is using so you can at least follow along. And then maybe eventually you take that system and use it on your own or take the plays as confluence with each other. Because like you said, signal bonding with no rhyme or reason, you're not going to make it.
No. And that's the difference between a signal channel and a real mentor. Because a real mentor will learn your tendencies, will explain thoroughly their system, why they got in and out of trades, what that looked like for them, how they manage them. And then you can actually start to build your own system that you understand it. Because if you fully understand why a trade might be setting up, why this level exists, what liquidity is, and what it looks like and how it operates and what it looks like to have a liquidity grab and then a move start to take off, you can, once you start to understand that and experience it and trade it, then you can trade with some sense of actual understanding your business. And that's where I think you start to get the power behind you of knowing what a good trade is anyways, and then how to handle it effectively, like consistently, because there's no consistency when you don't even understand what makes up your trade and you're trying to blindly copy. So that's where the work comes in of like showing up to create your trading system that you understand.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And getting back to the mentor, just having somebody where you took a terrible trade and say, why is this wrong? And they can just walk you through it. First of all, were you working? Were you in a meeting while you're doing this? Anything like that? Because I used to run a service business and I would walk outside somebody's house if my phone went off for the signal bot group and take the play. And then I couldn't monitor it. And then it might have gone green and then it went to zero. The option went to zero. But having these mentors where you can actually go through the plays or go through in real time or anything like that, but go through the underlying system of why a trade works, why it doesn't. And you mentioned earlier, the mentor should know your lifestyle. If you can only trade Asia sessions, maybe you focus on a strategy that moves with slower price action. If you can only trade New York Open, you need to know how to size New York Open and anything that comes with that.
Yeah. And I think this is what changed for me too, is I had to make trading my own. It had to fit with my personality style, my tendencies. Was I risk averse or was I, fearless and over leveraged? Like I had to drill into my own issues, psychological tendencies in order to like make my system play to my strengths, but also like watch my back end on my tendencies that I would slide into inappropriately. And then if you can have a mentor that gets to know you a little bit, they can help guide you and tailor your mentorship in that way as well. And so I think it's both twofold of like letting people into your life personally that are traders that can have your back and like give you real time feedback. And then also kind of owning it realistically, because like, not learning from your losses is a recipe to continue to lose forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just made a great point of bringing somebody into your life that is a trader. Because I don't know about you. When I first started, I didn't know anybody that traded. If I talked about trading, they were like gambling, crypto, something like that. So being able to talk to somebody that, even if it's not every day, but it's able to understand it. Like, for example, I have a terrible day trading and I go to my wife and say, oh, I don't know why I did this. And she's looking at me like I'm crazy. But then you get into your mentor, you get into somebody that actually knows what trading is like. And you can talk for 2 hours about it. And it just makes it so much easier when you have not even a community, just somebody to talk to about it. So I think that's even better than the teaching part. It's the being there and relating part.
Yeah, because it makes you feel like you're not losing your damn mind. Because when
that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Right? I feel like the first year or two, like I
Yep.
constantly felt like I would win and I would feel great, but I wouldn't even honestly always fully understand it. But then when I
Yeah.
would lose, I felt like I would lose my damn mind because it's like, I want to know why and I want to not lose, but then it hurts to lose. And so you don't want to think about it. But then if you tell somebody who doesn't understand it, they're going to just judge you. And so being able to talk to people who get it and make you feel like you're human and this is a part of it and this is what you have to work through if you really want it and that you're okay. And it's such a game changer for me. Like the longevity in this game, you can stay steadier when you can get that off your chest to someone who will be there in the right way.
Yeah. I always said trading therapy would be a moneymaker industry. So if anybody is a psychologist and wants to get started on that, I don't know.
It's a budding world out there. I totally see that and agree with that because it's a need, right? Like this pokes at our deepest
more than
internal.
anything is we need to get this off our chest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the psychological part of trading, not to say too much on BluSky, but like literally that's my favorite topic. That's the core of Market Mamas is trading psychology because that's a game changer. And so that's my jam. And so that's what I focus on at BluSky when I'm on live there too, is because that I want to talk about it because I know that's what makes me a better trader. I know that when I have had these honest conversations with my closest people, those have been pivotal moments for me in order to transition into steadier trading. And so I think that just being able to learn from other traders that you also, Justin, have been through this period where you thought you were losing your damn mind and you leaned on your people and showed up for hard work. Like that normalize it. Just hearing this conversation will normalize the fact that someone else is in this moment. They're still going through it too, but there's light on the other side. Like Jess and I both have made some money from trading, and it's because of this period that we're talking about of leaning on our people and working through it and letting it take years, not just months.
Yep. And not to say I don't feel like I'm losing my damn mind sometimes, because, I trade NQ and Q can humble you very quickly. Sometimes, you think you have it, and then like this year, a tweet comes out and trading doesn't matter. It all goes out the window.
Yeah.
So always use a stop loss. That's a reminder for that.
Seriously, if you, at a minimum, if you just have a stop loss on there, you'll be okay, and then honoring it and walking away. Oh, I don't know if you ever revenge trade, but I learned some lessons on revenge trading days.
I have something I call the tilt monster. It's always waiting for me to mess up.
Yeah.
I always say it's sitting right outside this door, just waiting for me to mess up.
Yeah, control that, mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's tricky.
Absolutely.
I think it's a whole lesson unto itself of learning to control tilt, because that's a real thing that we each have to experience, and then learn how to leave it on the other side of the door and not in your office by your mouse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of these brokers have lockouts now, which is great. I wish that was a thing back in the day, but it wasn't.
It wasn't for the first couple of years of prop funding companies. No one had that.
Exactly.
But now I think there's energy behind supporting the trader, because there is burnout. There's burnout in trading where we lose numbers constantly. Like the numbers are staggering of the amount of people that quit. And it's because you run out of money and sanity if you can't get yourself organized. And so the prop funding companies, they actually need us. They need traders to hold, to learn and grow and continue showing up for the work of it. Not just for the reset fees, but for the longevity of growing a community. One thing I love about what we found at BluSky is people show up day after day and you start to learn other people in the community and support each other, and about each other's tendencies and habits on the charts. And it's kind of fun to have that community around you, because in my neighborhood, I got moms and grandmas and my nanny and stuff, but no community in my little natural environment. It's so valuable.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a great point too, because back when I did options, my broker wasn't giving me education or checking in on me or answering my questions immediately. But now I feel like you said, the prop firms, almost everything they do, maybe besides their back end pricing and stuff like that, is for the trader, because they want to keep us around. The more money, the better you do, the better they do. So that is all the new futures are for us, which is great. It's a great time to be a trader.
It's shifted. This environment is actually really cool. So I would say if anyone is watching this trying to figure out if they should stay or quit, I think that's the kind of my audience is trading, is people trying to really dial in to becoming successful, but are not quite there yet. I think we get a lot of those viewers, and get people around you that get it, because having open, authentic conversations when you're working through this period is what I'm echoing you saying as well, is really valuable in terms of holding steady and containing your losses and learning from them, and knowing that you are actually just a human being doing a really hard thing.
Could you imagine 5 years ago if your broker had professional traders streaming all day for you to listen to? and talk to. What a game changer it would have been. It would have shaved 3 years off my life, my journey.
I know, right?
Yeah,
These young traders these days are so
I know. And I do wish I found out this when I was in high school, like a lot of these kids are finding out. Could you imagine starting this at 18? Maybe you go to college, maybe you don't by the time, but you're 22, 23. You've had prop firms. You didn't have to put up a lot of your own money, and you learned how to trade. You can do whatever you want, literally.
Yeah. The world would be your oyster. Like it.
Yeah.
Trading really is an opportunity to print money. It's not as easy as that, but it's the opportunity is real. Like it's money exchanged. And so if you can lock in and find the right people and grit through the hard period, like it's a real thing.
I don't know any other industry that a normal person can get into that has opportunities like that. Because I'm sure I've seen people go from nothing to, having a Lambo in a year. It's just because they did it right. I'm not saying that's the right purchase to make. But I've seen some of these people do it that it just clicks, and they are some of the best traders I've ever seen. But they just bought a prop firm account one day. 6 months later, they're getting payouts, and they don't work anymore.
Yeah, I mean, consistency and showing up for your dreams. If this is your dream, I think that is something that sets us apart of like when you quit, like you and I are both pretty deep into this process, but the people who have fallen away are the ones that didn't dig into the whole well-rounded picture of it all, which is technical and psychological.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those people are probably just focused on the money, because I know I was when I first started, and I'd win and then I lose it all in one bad trade. So once you start focusing on the bigger picture and how this can change your life and offer you freedom and all that stuff, that's when it really clicks for a lot of people, in my opinion.
Do you have any thoughts on what you did in that period in order to make that transition in your mind?
I got tired of losing money every day. That's probably the first thing. Like, I'd literally make money from my business, funnel it into my broker, and then do it over and over again. And I'm like, I'm working just to fund my hobby. And I didn't want it to be a hobby. I wanted this to take over my business and become my career. So once I started actually thinking about it, got the mentor, learned how to think through trading rather than just clicking buttons. Like, why am I taking this trade? Is this worth it? Should I be taking this trade because I'm not sitting at my desk? I'm watching a movie and I'm not fully focused. Once you start putting all the pieces together and you get a clear picture of what you want out of trading, I think that really helps. Because like I said, a lot of people just get into it because they see a kid with a Lambo, or they want a lot of money, and that's really what a lot of people do. But once you really think about what trading can do for you as a person, as a family, I think that really changes everything.
Right. How long do you think that took?
That's a loaded question. I think my first 2 years were basically a wash, because the first year was signal botting. And I had a big win with AMC. And the second year was me bouncing from community. And one time, I think at this time I was probably around 30. And a lot of the communities I joined were like 18-year-olds. And that didn't resonate with me. You guys still live at home. You could blow your whole account right now and start over tomorrow with, some allowance. So I found somebody that was around my age that had transitioned from a professional job into trading full time and actually teaching people. And I thought, all right, if this person could do it with zero experience with just a mentor, and I'm going to learn exactly what he learned from his mentor, this is something I need to do serious. And I showed up hours every week with them, back tested all this stuff. And from that time, I'd say about a year is when I actually started seeing some consistency and profitability. But before that, it was high ups and very low lows. But besides that, I'd say once you can lock in, if you get lucky, 6 months to a year, most people I'd probably say 2 to 3. But the main thing is sticking with it and not bouncing around. Because when I was bouncing around, I might as well just fast forwarded 2 years and not done anything.
Yeah. I love what you just said, because like strategy hopping, in theory, it's a good idea, because when you're young, when you're early in your trading career, you don't know what your profitable system is, what's going to speak to you, and what your best trade ideas are. But every time you skip from one to another, you are reset to zero. Like you have a 100%. Lot more to learn. Like it's going to confuse you, because you're going to be melding the old with the new. And so you're not even going to be fully learning the new yet. It makes it a long kind of curvy ass road that you're trying to figure out.
And like you said, it goes like this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think definitely find something that really resonates with you and then dig in, like ask questions and like start making it your own, because you could strategy hop for years and lose money that whole time.
Yeah. And I don't think it's a bad idea to learn what's behind certain strategies. Like I think everybody should know what moving averages are, like what a bunch of random, things that people talk about, but take those little pieces and make your own little strategy and focus on certain things.
And we all have to start somewhere. Like the company that I started with, like I barely even knew what a candlestick was. And
Oh
because I
yeah.
was very green, right? And so
Mhm.
like they didn't teach me my profitable trading system now. They did not, but they taught me so many fundamentals that I needed that like I can't even be mad that they weren't the end game for me, but they were the opening. They were the opening set, And so then I got to figure out try and suss out the holes in their system and what I wanted more of. And then I found a mentor that met that need. And so it wasn't so much hopping irrationally. It was more so like, I know this and this doesn't really make sense. I wonder if I can fix this. And so you kind of learn where you need to navigate to fix the holes in your own executions and situation. It's like intentional.
Yeah. And then you probably realize like this from this part works perfect with this from this part. And then you put those together. And it's funny you said you didn't even know what a candle was, because when I was learning, it was, like I said, it was RSI and stuff. And just when a line crossed the line, that's when I entered. And somebody goes, "Oh, did you get in on that hammer?" I had no idea what he was talking about. And that's when I really realized I needed to take this seriously.
Yeah. Right. There's so much jargon with trading that like even a year or two in, I started trying to tell my husband what the heck was happening. He's like, I don't even know what the hell you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because when
It's
I
a
start
world.
talking to somebody that's trading, we're like, "Oh, did you see that fair value gap mixed with it?" And then like our wives looking at us like, "What the hell are these guys talking about? Is this English?" And we're
Yeah.
just, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Wick entry on a fair value gap with divergence.
Exactly. But
Mm-hmm.
meeting a trader in the wild is one of my favorite things. What do you do for a living? I trade. What do you trade? NQ? Stop. Did
Right.
we just become best friends?
I know. You speak this language? What?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's fun. It's been an interesting world to like navigate. And, if you can figure out how to not lose your mind, like mine was similar. It was about a year after I found my mentor that really he was solid. And it's funny you said that because he was also around my age, like has a
Yeah.
family, was pivoted from a career. And so he spoke my language, like he understood where we're at in life. And so he taught to that as well. Like that was a part of his system of like, are you taking care of yourself as well? And are you having a well-rounded life? And like, are you managing all your finances so you're not just throwing good money after bad kind of situation, which was great. And then it was still for me, even like taking it seriously, digging in, it was still a year after I transitioned to him before I had like a first profitable period. So, I mean, that's just to say that like you can do all the things and you still need to give yourself grace of like, it has to sink in deeply and then you have to mess it up and then realize you need to go back to it and let it sink in even deeper. And it's like, that's the reality, I think.
Yeah, and I think what you said, like meshing with your mentor or whatever, I think your vibes have to be very similar, because if you don't have something similar, the other guy might be a great teacher, but it's going to take him 6 months to figure out what works for you. Where if you have somebody that automatically knows what you're talking about, what you're going through, that's 6 months already gone. And now you can just get right into the trading and what works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's powerful that way too. I mean, like that's part of like letting it speak to you. Because if you're trying to be a different person, like I could never be a 19-year-old bro because it's just not.
Exactly. Yeah.
My
Hmm.
oldest is 13. Like I think you're great and I wish you the best. I think it's amazing. And I honestly want at least one of my kids to turn into a trader. So I'm going to start teaching them. So they're going to be a young bro one of these days. But, like for me, it's good to be surrounded by similar energy.
Yeah. I always joke with my friends that have middle schoolers that when are we going to get them in here? When are we going to start? They should be in ninth grade with their laptop out getting yelled at for hitting a trade.
Yeah, I got to get them off the video games first. Put them in
Yeah.
sim. I need to put them in sim on,
Put them in sim first. There you go.
yeah, right? Make it fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what if someone asks you what your most powerful lesson to longevity as a trader would be, does something stand out for you?
For me, it's less is more. Um, Believe it or not, less screen time equaled more success for me. After trading for, X amount of years, I realized there were certain times of the day where my setup would present itself. And then the other time of the day, I would just be staring at it. And sometimes on the 1 minute chart, if there's nothing that's popping up. And I think, the longer you stare at the chart, the more setups are going to magically appear. And now you're taking D setups, C setups, just setups you wouldn't normally take. So what happens for me is I limit maybe 3 trades a day is my max. If I hit 3 trades, I'm done, even if something else presents itself. But I really look for 1 setup in the morning and then 1 setup in the afternoon. And it's all pre-planned. I write a thesis out every morning before I actually log on to my broker. These are the key levels I'm looking at. If it reacts this way, I do this. If it reacts this way, I do this. Because the way I trade, I'm trading areas where you're going to get a big reaction. And I want to play those areas. I want to hit the button once and I want to be done. I don't want to have to take 30 trades to get the same amount as I can make in 1 trade. So for me, it was really less is more. And one of my big things is consistency over perfection, just trying to do the same thing every day.
Okay, there was like 12 lessons. I hope people wrote down that. That was
Slow motion, guys.
I know, right? Take notes today, guys. I do that too. I call it a hypothesis, but basically it's the intention of what you understand, like drawing your levels before you want to trade, understanding where there should be a reaction. And if so, what would that look like? And then how would you get in based on said reaction, and being prepared when the candles start to print in that moment. It's not as anxious. Like you just want to start getting into the move. Instead, it's like, let me see if it gives me what I think it might give me. And then I'm ready. And it's such a better energy of like hunting the 1 minute chart, because, oh my heavens, you can just start.
That's what I started on. Yeah. And I found most people's problem is overtrading and just not following their plan. I think what's it called? Set and forget it. Like once you're in, you're in. It either hits your stop loss, it hits your first PT, or it hits your full PT. You sitting there watching, it's not going to do anything. You sweating, it's not going to do anything. It either works or it doesn't. And once I realized to just trust the system and just let it play out, because I mean, you don't have to win all your trades. You just have to have the risk reward that makes sense and have the win rate that makes sense for that system. And once you finally realize that, like I know traders that have a 40% win rate that make so much money. And then I know traders that have a 90% win rate that haven't gotten a payout yet. So I think it's just trusting the system and sticking to your rules. It's what really pushed me past the edge.
Yeah. And so you said you only take 3 trades a day. Do you lock yourself out?
So, no, I don't physically lock myself out, but I'm at the point where I can stay away. So that was a huge thing for me. If the lockout button was there back in the day, yes, 100%. But now I can I'll have a friend text me saying, "Oh my God, look," and I'll say, "No, I'm done for the day. It doesn't matter."
Good on you. That's maturity.
If I'm doing something, I'm not looking at the charts. I think you need to have that comes into life balance, which is we could do a 3-hour conversation on.
Seriously, it's important to navigate when you get there. But I am impressed that to be able to consistently honor the 3 trades a day and then not be interested. That is a level that that's when I think you treat trading as a full business. Like, you know that there's going to be opportunities and you're going to be patient and you don't have to hunt it all the time. It becomes more of a business versus an obsession. I think
100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the best piece of advice my mentor gave me was, this is a business. This isn't a hobby. And the only problem with this is, he put it perfectly, there's no boss watching over you telling you you're doing a terrible job or that you shouldn't have done that or don't do it. It's just, this is all it is.
Yeah. This is why I enjoy having traders on my podcast. This is why I alternate different topics, but then I have trader journeys on every other episode, because I want people to hear this whole conversation and know that there is a recipe for making it to the other side of the exasperating, exhausting, painful ups and downs of early trader, to where you do treat it as a successful business and you're calm and you have life balance and you have rules that you honor intrinsically because you know that they're there for your protection and your system is evolved and you know what your setup looks like. That is where you can settle into it as a trader, and you can have extra things like you actually do a role at BluSky, and you know, your life can be full and comprehensive, and trading isn't all consuming. You don't need to have 8 hours of watching each candle print to be a successful trader. And it's such a beautiful place to get to and start growing from too. It's like the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say, the few times I do break the rules and take that extra trade, it never goes well. So that's why sticking with the system is number 1 on my list. Because once you deviate that, it's just game over.
Same. Plus, I think the mental toll from when I have broken my rules and I've gone back for just one more, and then usually that ends red, and then that's a tilt trigger for me, because then I'll get
100%.
Brushed.
It's never just one more. It's always the next one. I'll get it back, and then before you know it, you blew all your profits for the day.
Yes. And that's It's such a rough feeling, to be honest. Like, we're humans. We're not actually robots. Like, it feels like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where, can I even do this anymore? Or, I mean, I'm sure you've been to this point where you're $100 from passing an eval and you go, okay, I'm just going to buy this. And then you end up blowing the eval in 3 minutes when you were that close to it. And you just wasted 2 weeks of work. And it just makes you question everything you've been thinking.
100%. Which is why, for stability, follow your rules, you guys. Like, do your best. Like, and use the prop firms. Like, I still use a lockout. I like the lockout button. If I hit my profit goal or my max daily locks, like, I want it to be like, better luck tomorrow. Like, bye, girl. Like, so
you know what's funny is speaking of the lockout feature, I had a friend where her boyfriend would physically take her computer and put it in a safe to lock her out from overtrading. And that's probably the best lockout feature I've seen.
Yeah, dude. That's very effective. You're cut off. Sneaks away.
Yeah, literally.
That's a good man. It's
yeah,
good partnership.
Right.
Yeah. There's options, but I definitely, whatever you need to do, because when we're still, humans, and we know our tendencies are to just one more, and then that's a tilt slide that you can not want to enjoy, protect your backside for longevity is a success hack.
Great way to put it. Protect your butt.
Yep. Justin, thank you so much for your time today. I really have enjoyed our conversation and getting to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great talking to you. And I'm glad you got to learn about my journey a little bit. I feel like everybody's is pretty much the same, but it's always great to hear it.
Yeah. And I think that there's like little variances to each of our stories, but to know that it's like, it really is realistically this hard. And we've all had a period where it freaking sucked. And then there are some of us that have come out on the other side. So if you want to talk to us more about it, like, hit me up. Justin, you have some contact information. I'll put it in the chart notes. Is that cool? In the show notes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. People, you can ask us questions and we can be your support. Justin and I actually both are at BluSky Prop Firm. We work there as well and accessible for questions and I do a psychology lab on Tuesdays at market close too, just because these topics are so important to like push through to success and longevity in trading, which is why we're all here. If you're here at the end of this podcast, it's because you actually really care about your journey and you're pushing through to your most consistent period. So thank you for watching. If you aren't liked and subscribed, I don't know why, please do. And then just happy trading, like, enjoy this bountiful opportunity that we have that, we're blessed to be able to be working through, I think.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.